Hey, what's going on, you guys? Rasathi here in Singapore. I was going back through all of my old videos and some of the subject matter that I've been talking about lately. And then I decided to scroll through posts and friends of mine, their stories, because I think I look at stories more often than I do posts. And eventually, once I catch something that really, piques my interest, then I'll go in and read the post. So the post for me is more like a microblog. I really enjoy them, and I like the long form. Way that people actually explain themselves in the post caption itself, but the stories actually give me an idea of where people are, what people are dealing with, and it gives me a lot of insight into where the collective is at the moment, but it also gives me a lot of ideas about what is needed out there in the world. Like, I mean, most people would do polls, most people ask questions. I ask a lot of questions in my stories too, but I get a lot of people who just like message me with random information. A lot of people don't actually answer the question that I've asked. People send hearts and emojis, stuff like that, and it's very sweet, but yeah, it's difficult to kind of gauge the audience at large, except for when I watch posts and stories, stuff like that. But today something came across my timeline, and it was a post actually from a friend of mine. I'm actually doing a class with her in a little while. But I wanted to address my side of things. So she was talking about intimacy and how, in the beginning she used to run from it. And I think it kind of leads in very well from a post I put up yesterday talking about how, I used to think that I was self-made. And I used to think that, nobody made me. I did this all by myself, and it's quite narcissistic of me. But then on the flip side of that, there was a part of me as well before the narcissism kicked in where I really depended on people. And obviously that was back when I was 5. I had a lot of major life changes, kind of in succession from each other. And so the part of me that was young and impressionable and totally codependent because I was a kid, right? Kind of switched from very codependent, very needy, naggy, wanting to be around people, needing someone to be there always, not really being comfortable with being, quiet and in the silence, went from that to completely narcissistic where I cut everybody off. I didn't want to have anything to do with anybody, very standoffish, very, very just, grumpy in general. And then I was ready to kind of make my own decisions without any influence from outside, meaning to say that I had to be full of myself a little bit, right? So with that being said, when she spoke about intimacy, and of course, she's a sex coach, so she's talking about real intimacy, I had to check myself and look at where I stood on those issues. Now, for a long time now, well over 6 years, I have been single. And it's not a bad thing. I'm actually quite happy being unattached, but I also have attracted several suitors. And the suitors, unfortunately for me, seem to be only after that one thing, that one thing in doo-wop that Lauryn Hill was singing about. Anyway, so as attractive as it may seem at first, and how exciting it is that somebody finds you physically attractive, most things, as always, fizzle out when it starts off physical, because where do you go from there? There's nothing left to give. And unfortunately, I find that people either want it or they don't, and if you give them what they want, a lot of times they'll fuck it up and they'll disappear. But the other thing is that's safe. Giving that part of yourself is quite safe because somebody somewhere at some point will find you interesting or attractive, and it will start all over again, that whole cycle. What I realized though was I was attracting unattainable people because I myself was unattainable. It was almost like I give of myself all the time, right? So I tell you guys stories of myself, my past, my experiences. I give you bits and pieces of my heart, things that really crushed me, things that really destroyed me. And I do this on a public basis, and I have no problem doing that. I have no problem opening up to that side of me. But when it comes to specifics, when people ask me what my favorite something is, I literally do not have one. I can't tell you what my favorite food is. It depends on my mood. I can't tell you what my favorite movie is. It depends on the genre and my mood. I can't tell you what I would prefer to do on New Year's because it depends on my mood. And that, in a way, is my way of sheltering myself. My way of stopping people at a specific limit, because then you don't know exactly how to get to. I'm not giving you the recipe on how to take care of me. Does that make sense? And a lot of times I feel like that's part of my problem, that's part of my downfall, that I've stopped at that level. I don't want to give any more than that because what if you use it against me? What if I tell you where all my scars and my bruises are? What if I tell you that I bruise easily, or that, I have a dislocated shoulder, and at some point you use that against me? And I think that's where I've become a little more aware, and I have to be a lot more honest, because stopping at that point, yeah, obviously it doesn't give anyone keys to be able to hurt me with, my own secrets or anything, but it also does not let anyone in past a certain point. I was speaking to a young lady, a relative of mine, and she was mentioning how she's never been in a relationship. Well, I know that she, speaks to so many different people. She's been on dating apps before. She's met people outside of, a work or family arrangement, like a gathering or whatever. And I was curious. I was like, yo, but you said, you've never been in a relationship. How is that possible? Because I consider everything a relationship. I think friendships are relationships. I think, the same bus driver that you speak to every day because you take the same bus at the same time every day, that's a relationship. But when I spoke to her and I understood her definition, it made sense. She also was keeping people at arm's length to a degree because she did not consider anything a relationship or dating someone until that person loved her. Now, how do you get to that space, though? It takes a lot of work to get to that place where someone can say, I love you, or that they even feel like they love you. I mean, on a generic basis, I love everybody. I am happy to spend time. I'm happy to invite you to my home. I'm happy to make a meal for you. I'm happy to share your secrets, as in, like, be privy to, the things that you've been through, because I'm here to help on a professional basis. But that doesn't mean that I'm dating any of those people. And in that regard, I understand that. But if you've been to my house more than once, if you call me regularly, if we spend a lot of time together, I would consider that dating, because I am taking time out of my busy day on a consistent basis to meet with you, to spend time with you, and I would consider that intimacy. But to be honest, I'm terrified of that. Even in those intimate settings, I usually listen really well. I think it's a skill that I've developed all the time, because if I'm listening, I'm not speaking. If I'm not speaking, I'm not giving you any information about myself. And the occasional head nod and, yeah, I agree with that, or yeah, I've been in a similar situation, that's not so terrifying. But if you were to ask me to open up and ask me a specific question about my life and how I feel about certain things, that makes me nervous. If you ask me how I feel about a specific thing, me personally, and it's not the generic PG-13 version of things, because who here actually puts their entire opinion on social media, right? We cut and paste, and we decide what pieces are relevant and which ones aren't, and we keep certain pieces to ourselves. If I were to tell you that if I'm upset, the first thing I do is to go watch a movie, and yes, I take forever to figure out what movie it is, but more often than not, the one that happens to be on is more useful to me than the one that I go and choose on purpose, because I don't get messages from the divine that way then. But would you look at me like I'm completely crazy? Would you judge me if I told you that I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and I go straight to the fridge, eat like a brownie or something, and then go get on my computer to go do work because I can't sleep and I feel like I might as well be productive? Would you judge me if I told you that I filled my day with a lot of little somethings because I want to keep being productive, I want to keep being busy, but a lot of times the work that I should be doing is the stuff that I avoid, because the little things I make sure take up more time, and it feels like I have loads more done on my list, but I still haven't like attempted the things that really would stretch and grow me. Would you judge me if I told you that I've had the book Claim Your Power by Master and Kip for over a year now? And okay, maybe not over a year, at least a good 6 months. And I bought it way back when, and then eventually bought the course that went with it, and then found a free, masterclass that he was doing, and attended that. Attended the masterclass twice. The second time I didn't really, listen in that clearly. I didn't do the work as much as I could have, and then suddenly here I am, end of the year, wondering, I haven't done the 40-day journaling situation, and that's the original reason that I even bought the book. But here I am thinking, how can I cram it in so I can get it done by the end of January at least? I do that a lot. I procrastinate a lot. As much work as I get done, I procrastinate a lot. I have been locked out of Kudiji's account for a little while now, and all I need to do is change the password. And to be honest, I've been thinking about it for like 3 days and haven't done it yet. It would take me 20 minutes, tops. I didn't realize that my podcast has been on the air on Spotify. There are 600 plus episodes on there right now, and it wasn't tied to my account. I have not claimed it yet. And when I went to go claim it, I found out that my email wasn't working and that I had to email Spotify themselves to see if they can help me fix the situation. But I didn't know that I could do all those things. If I admitted all the things that I couldn't do, and if I admitted all the things that I feel like doing on a whim because it feels good to me, would you judge me? Would that be intimacy to you? Or is intimacy when you sit down in the quiet of someone's presence and no one else is around, it's just the two of you, and you're able to speak freely and at length about anything and everything? Yes, sex is intimacy. And people can go through the act without thinking much anything of it because they're used to it. But can you open up and tell people what you like and what you don't like? Can you let people see the real you? And to be honest, I still have trouble. I can be open about a great many things, but there are still some things I keep to myself. Why? Because I kind of feel like there should be something for me. Something that not everyone else has. Something that I can actually say, only my husband knows this. Only my lover knows this. Only my best friend knows this. And even then, I don't actually have a best friend. I no longer have a husband. I don't actually have a lover. Not one that I consider is exclusive to me, not somebody that I would consider a lover. Because I'm a one guy kind of girl. I don't want to date around. I don't want to date multiple people at the same time only to find out that they were all dating multiple people as well and I was not as high on the priority list as I thought I was. I am afraid. I'm afraid of being hurt. I'm afraid of being left behind. Again. I don't open up about my hopes and dreams mostly because I don't want anyone into competition with me. I want to stay focused. I don't want anyone to deter me from the things that I think are important. I don't want anyone to step in and say something that changes my outlook on the things that I thought were great and important and marvelous ideas and then suddenly not do them anymore. Why? Because I've had that happen before. My ex-husband did that. My ex-fiance did that before my ex-husband did. I've had friends that did that. So yeah, I'm still in protection mode. I still keep a lot of things to myself. As much as you know about my life, if you've noticed, I've never told you my life story from beginning to end, ever. I've given it to you in bits and spurts, because I give you what's relevant at the time. But outside of that, I'm still quite guarded. My walls still go up. I have yet to let my hair down and laugh hysterically and be completely stupid with anybody. As in a place where I don't have to warm up and get to that place, where I'm there anyway. You meet me there, in that weird, cringy, she's really off her rocker kind of way. So while I've peeled back many layers, and it's taken me years to do that, I still have a long way to go. And honestly, where intimacy is concerned, and no, I'm not talking about sex, I'm talking about shared dreams and visions and how we can really help each other. I'm still better at listening. And as much as I'm good at listening to other people, I'm still not that great at listening to myself. So I want you to think about that. The path is not straight. The path is a spiral. We revisit aspects of ourselves over and over again only to peel back more and more layers, more masks, more things that we have covering who we really are and what we really look like. And as those things fall away, the closer we get to our truth. And I'm still on that journey, just like you guys are. Maybe I started before you, maybe I started after you. I don't know where you are on your path, but I'm getting there. It's getting more and more difficult to hide. It's becoming more and more frequent that I see aspects of myself in other people and I realize, hey, I'm still hiding. I'm still afraid. And as much as I spoke about you need to show up even though the fear is there, because the fear will always be there, I need you to understand that I'm not that different from you. I still put my pants on one leg at a time. I still have to brush my teeth in the morning. and at night, although I miss it at night a lot. And I'm still afraid. I'm still afraid of letting people in on a permanent basis. I don't mind letting you in here and there, and you got to go home at some point, and I depend on that. But what would it be like to live with someone again? What would it be like to have someone call me at the same time every day because they're done with work, or somebody who, who messages me when they're free because they want my company? What would it be like to be in that situation again? How do I maintain a little bit of me when I'm so excited to be around you and I want so badly for you to succeed in your dreams and goals? Because my biggest fear is that I will lose myself in another relationship, because I've done it so many times before. And that, my dears, is the honest truth. I love you guys. And I hope, just like me, you find yourself on this spiral path, slowly peeling back layers of yourself so you can shine a little brighter, so you lift up all those little pieces that cover your light. Because ultimately, it's all about getting home. And I want you guys to find home wherever you are. And for that to happen, you gotta peel back those layers. Anyways, I'll catch you again soon. I love you guys. Bye.